Today, for 7 minutes, we are going to invite the inner critic to show up. And how we're going to do that is just by placing colors on a page. So any colors that you have, markers, crayons, paints, pencil crayons, pens, whatever you've got, just start placing those on a page, and the inner critic will come up. It will say, "What are you doing? You don't know how to paint. What are you doing? You don't know how to make art. You're not an artist." And we're going to say, "You're right. I'm not an artist in the sense that I want to sell my art. But I am an artist in the sense that I'm going to make art today. And you're going to tell me all the things I'm doing wrong and all the reasons why I can't do this. And I am going to work through that with you. We're going to do this together." And I found that with this practice of scribbling, that it really does invite the inner critic to show up. And with that invitation, we get the opportunity to practice the feelings that come with the inner critic in a space that is, as safe as it's gonna get, really, to practice listening to that inner critic and doing something even though the inner critic is there. So what I mean by that is just like putting colors on a page. Like, this really has almost zero repercussions in your life. You don't have to show anyone it. You don't have to show anyone what you've made. You're just here putting colors on a page, making shapes, making movements. And letting your inner critic say, "That looks terrible." What a thing to work through, right? But if you do this regularly enough, it's amazing how much less power that inner critic has over you. At least that's been my experience, I should say. I've been doing this for a while, and the inner critic still shows up, but I've got the resiliency skills that I need to say, "Oh yeah, that's cool that you think that. I can just continue on." And what I'm finding is that as I do this scribble practice more and more, I get to go and feel that way about things that mean more and more to me in my life, because I'm getting the practice that I need within the scribble practice to practice that resiliency. And so this really seems like such a simple practice, but it's not always going to feel easy. I often have resistance getting started and sitting down. Because things come up that can be challenging to deal with. And I had to do this practice for years before I got to the point that I felt comfortable sharing what I'm doing in a public space. And by years, I mean almost a decade, like a long, long time before I became confident enough to share this scribbling with you. Because as a recovering perfectionist, this is not something I would have put out in the world before. And I'm so glad that I did this practice regularly for a decade, this scribble practice, so that I could get to this point where I can share something that feels really meaningful to me with you. This is not a color palette that I have used before, and I am super digging it. It's really fun. Personally, I like to place colors on a page. I place them in different ways. Sometimes I place them because it feels pleasing. Sometimes I just like the feeling of the shape that's being made. And so I just keep doing it over and over. Like right now. Other times it feels like a color is asking to go in a certain place, even when it's not exactly what I might think looks pretty. Oh man, I'm not really quite done, so I'm just going to continue because that's what I feel like doing. If you only have a certain amount of time, then that's 7 minutes up. I'll probably go for 10. Maybe I'll set the timer for 3 more. That takes me to 10. I really like to get my fingers into things. My inner critic comes up a lot while making these videos as well, because I don't feel as confident or as skillful in video making. So I definitely have a lot of that. And the style of video is not one that is very common. So there's a lot of inner critic stuff coming up around that too. Saying that it's not gonna work, people don't like these slower videos. They like things to be planned out and snappy and listy. And that's not the kind of content or, I guess, creativity I'd like to put into the world. I want it to feel a little bit more authentic. Not saying other people who do that aren't authentic, but for me it It feels more authentic to just say what comes to me as it comes to me. Just the same as this scribble practice, putting colors down isn't planned. I just place them wherever feels right in the moment. Okay, well, that's the practice for today. Thanks so much for being here. If you want to keep scribbling, check out this activity right here. Woohoo! Yep, it's a good one. Otherwise, I will see you again tomorrow. I hope you join me. Bye for now.